Welcome back to the new School Sensei podcast. I'm your host, Lance Douglas. So we've got a very special guest today, Priit Mihkelson. Did I say your last name right?
So-and-so.
So-and-so? So this guy...
It's Mihkelson. The HK you can't pronounce.
Okay, I have to work on that.
Yes.
But we've got Priit. So definitely someone probably you've inspired me the most. I remember back in the day, you had the early Globetrotter videos. And a lot of you had some good turtle stuff, which is I definitely use. But the things I got most out of your seminars was just the chat about coaching, thinking differently, stop doing shrimps in warm-ups, just things like, how the cultish nature of BJJ. So just that mindset. I like to think of you, Priit. I've been thinking about a good way to describe you, maybe a different way to describe you. You're kind of like the Bitcoin of the jiu-jitsu industry. I reckon
nice.
that's a good way of describing you, because when I talk to other people about you, they either love you or they absolutely hate you.
True. Yeah, that is that. The contrast is like amazing.
Because people will understand, like some people know everything about you, like, the defensive postures, they've watched all the Globetrotters, they're saying, this is the next big thing, you got to get into it, get into the defense. Whilst other people are just like, yes, stuff this guy, I hate him. He's nothing. Who is he? So I think, you're the Bitcoin of the jiu-jitsu industry.
I will use that. Nobody has. No, yeah, I've not that I've tried to put it into words what it means, but it is very contrasty, and I still don't understand. Let's say my reach, or because I know, I'm going to Singapore soon. I was in Australia, Canada, America. I'm kind of all over the place, and it seems like, people understand what I do, but then I still meet, definitely more in Reddit, but I still meet also in real time, and people like, yeah, this is bullshit, and I just know one of my friends, even right now, I think we're friends, Michael Courier. He said he didn't like me for 2 years because he thought I was proposing that everybody should roll like me, but then he understood that, I'm just studying that side of the information, and I do it for experiment, so I roll a certain way because I want to find out, but I'm just creating information, and you can do whatever you want, so defensively you can tap into that, and I think somehow I had never said that everybody should roll like me, but what I find it's people have very hard time to understand why I'm so dedicated to defense, and then I promote certain things, and they think this is the way jiu-jitsu should be, or everybody should roll like this, and I'm like, that's never been my message, so I don't know. Yeah, but I think all like I would say, like somebody says, all exposure is good exposure. So least I matter. So they even hate me and they know about me, and so it is a fun thing. So yeah.
You're memorable.
Yeah.
Definitely very memorable. It's good you're fighting the good fight, putting yourself in bad situations, learning about the defense. Just the other week I was working on some smother defense. I wanted to see how my smother, late stage defense, how someone's got they got their chest, the mother's milk right on your face. And I almost quit jiu-jitsu after that lesson. Had a sore neck, just getting all the sweat in my eyes. Like, geez, I don't know how you do it every class.
Yeah, so, I'm jokingly, I would say like this. I'm actually practicing what Jiu-Jitsu is. There's a famous quote, it's kind of like, Jiu-Jitsu's point is to teach you how to be comfortable in very uncomfortable situations. Well, it doesn't get any more uncomfortable than being, in under some dominant positions or being inside submissions, So to counter those, critics, I don't think they matter that much. I listen to them, what they have to say, and then I adjust accordingly if there is some constructive criticism, but mostly they're just like, just throwing shit on a wall that never sticks. And but I'm actually practicing the ethos of jiu-jitsu, because that's our job, that's that is what it is. You want to get better. It only happens through, so to speak, failure. And it's other side of jiu-jitsu that rarely we see, because obviously I'm not the only one with good defense. That will be ridiculous. We have so many people with good defense, but rarely we see it. So I'm even sometimes more loud because we don't see it, because I know so many people are actually, are good in defense, but because they're always attacking, because, good defense makes you, let's say it, fearless, you're more aggressive also because you're, willing to, your defense is so good. So those people are actually very hard to, we don't see them in a lot of defensive situations, So, and then we go, oh, attacks are cool. So I think even I'm extra loud because I know it's there. Everybody I think if you're honest to yourself, it's there. But defense, yeah, it's a bad rap, for whatever reason. And I even know people, I'm not naming countries where I were, but I was in country and I had a seminar there. And I know like some other gym, they told people not to come to my seminar. I think they were white belts or blue belts. And we found out specifically, they were told, don't go there. You don't need defense. You need attacks. And we were like, oh my God, So I don't know what is it with the defense that we do a defensive seminar, because obviously people are doing berimbolo, De La Riva stuff. So, and I'm not saying I'm the only one who does defensive seminars also, but it's mostly true that it is more offensive style seminars, And I'm going around and teaching survival, maybe also escapes, and it is a little bit against the grain, so to speak, like they say. I haven't chosen the easiest way to live, I guess, or something. But I love the challenge. I clearly see that there's work to be done, because obviously everybody knows beginners, white belt, blue belts, they're stuck in side control. They're still saying the first years are really hard. You have to survive all this smothering, being in bad positions, you're being toyed with, and they tell you to enjoy it, And I think if you understand why you're getting smothered or dominated, I think it's easier to survive those first years. But obviously, I have my own ideas how to make it easier. And if bad things happen to you, at least you know why they happened. And so next time you try again. But I think, just a simple example, I think if we start still, I think internet even is dominated by the escapes that starts from side control, cross face, underhook, and then we have frames. And I think like we should never, it comes with context when I say it, but we should never start from cross face, underhook, and frames escaping. There's so much stuff earlier we can do before we get stuck. So, and I think we're actually teaching people how to get stuck, So, and I think when, like I always said in different podcasts, when we make those early years more enjoyable, I think more people will stick to jiu-jitsu. I think it is overwhelming the way we teach every class is new techniques. I know we're going to talk about some ecological stuff and new sweep coming, and tomorrow is a new sweep, next day is a new sweep, and the people are complaining it's so difficult. They're feeling stupid. Plus, in the beginning years, they're always under mount, under side control. So it can be more pleasant, so to speak, the way you start, I think. And I think when people already like high blues and purples, I think they're in love, so to speak, and they stick around, if they can. But I think that we can definitely do like change the way I think the early years. And it's not like only I know the good answer. I'm saying just overall, we should think about it more, and different people should present their ideas, and we can, compete and learn from each other and challenge. I think there's a lot of work to be done, actually.
That's it. So speaking of new ideas, so we've got the constraints-led approach. Obviously,
Yes.
that's not a new concept, but it's kind of new for jiu-jitsu. So I've been playing around for the last 18 months. I think, Preet, you mentioned you've been playing around for about 12 months. It'd be good
Yeah,
to
yeah.
just kind of get your insights, your key findings from the last year of, just playing around with the constraints-led approach. For anyone listening that doesn't know what it is, it's good if we define what it is. So from my understanding, so the constraints-led approach, it's just a methodology used by coaches where you put a restriction or a limitation on your athlete as to help encourage them to problem solve their own solutions to an outcome. So it could be, I like to say, maybe we're doing some stand-up and you see your athlete, they're just never flanking their partner. They're never going towards the back. So maybe you might play a game. Okay, the winning condition is you win if you lift your partner from the front or from behind. And then that might give them some encouragement because a winning condition is lifting from behind to get around to the back. Whereas traditionally, I know I would have taught this way maybe 5-10 years ago. We would just drill 10 arm drags, just 10 dead drills, and then just hope our athlete would use an arm drag to get to the back. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Is that kind of your understanding as well, Preet?
Well, so yeah, I don't think I'm the best of talking about it like theoretically, but I would say like this, using what other people have said. Every I think coaching method is some kind of constraint. Yeah, everybody constrains it differently. It just, I think we're trying to use the ecological dynamics framework, and that gives us kind of the idea why we're constraining this way, not rather that way. So I think, yeah, and I think I would agree with you, but also I'd add like every coaching method, you constrain something. It's a method itself is a certain constraint, and so that would I would agree with you. But as I think that the framework, perception, and I say something stupid right now, whatever it is, theoretical framework, ecological dynamics, where it comes from, and why we're constraining also our, games like this. It's also important, and why this and why not that way. So I think, but yeah, we're trying to constrain certain options so people can, either we amplify some problems or we mark certain territory when people can find answers. We want to fine tune them to certain signal, that are there to pick, so they would pick something up. And the idea, I guess, is that there's no one correct movement solution, you know. And it's a very like it took me a year actually to start teaching. So it took, I think, almost a year when I was watching podcasts and maybe reading about it, and then yeah, and then I started, and now I've been doing this I think for a year and a half, and I'm still learning. Obviously, there's not much information out. I think people are saying they cannot do DVDs about it. I actually think we could, but I understand also why people say they can't. But yeah, like videos are out, different Ecopolosa, and I think the information is scarce, and that makes it also hard. So it's like coming up with your own solutions, but there should be like certain knowledge pool. And also, I know there's a ecological dynamics Discord is also there, so people can ask for there, but ask them also what they think in that group. But it's not easy to coach this way, actually. People call it like, oh, it's so hands off and let them figure it out. And it couldn't be furthest from the truth. So it's not and so for people listening also, it's not like something just came to Jiu-Jitsu and somebody figured it out yesterday. I think it's like from 84 or something, some ideas already. And now it's creeping into different sports. So it's interesting to be I would say, in somewhat front line of this movement, and trying to figure it out. And it wasn't so hard change for me, but I know, wow, so many people that they think they understand, they think they never always done it, this way. And yeah, but so it's interesting to see where it goes actually in a couple of years.
So give us some of your experiences using constraints-led approach, because I know for me personally, when I first started, I think my first 10 beginners, they all quit. Like they
Ah,
hated it. I
so
think like in a year, like I kind of lost all my new white belts. They absolutely hated it. I persisted. Um,
But why did
But
they
yes,
like?
I had a lot
Did
of
you
pushback.
did those white belts came from like? Did they do some other older methodology and then you switched, or were they brand new? They started with eco right away.
Yeah, just they're brand new, just straight off the
Why
street.
they don't like it?
I think it was probably too much rolling. Even though I did start them in relatively low variability positions, like I just start them on the back, or we'd start an armbar. So I babied them through for a month, but they essentially just all left. So it
Do
could
you
be
know
me,
what
it could
they
be me. Maybe
wanted?
I'm just
Why?
not good beginners. But
But not. But do you know why they didn't like it?
yeah, they just said it was they didn't like all the rolling. Essentially, they wanted more answers as well, because I was kind of more
Yeah. Yeah.
guiding, directing, giving them options. I wasn't like saying, okay, to finish, the armbar, you need to do this, 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 this. I kind of just gave them just the overview, end of the lever, in extension, control the shoulder. So,
It's interesting,
yeah,
yeah, because it like so we had already established group, so to speak, smaller than usual. So in the COVID, end of the COVID, we lost our gym, and then we went to judo gym, rented times, and we basically started from zero again. So we didn't have the biggest amount of jits guys, but so we just one day just changed. So what happened to, and I think um, as much as I know, we also had a beginner's course separately. Um, I haven't. I honestly know that people quit and stuff, and but I didn't have that feedback that they didn't like it, like publicly, so to speak. I think I understand what you mean, because when you start, maybe your games, maybe looking back, you think like, oh, your games could be different, more constrained, more like even more specific, so they get their answer. So if it's right away, like there's a guard, pass it, figure it out. So then it's, I think, overwhelming. But for us main group, it was, I think it took like month and a half and to 2 months to adjust, because the class was live, and basically everybody took it like a sparring, and that was not not I was not scared, but I was like, this is not okay. People will get injured, and so I was like, how the hell I'm gonna constrain them and do this, do that, and I always messed up a lot of classes. I still sometimes do. That's fun. But yeah, it was like 2 month period when people understood that, first of all, if they go balls to the wall in first 15 minutes, they can't do an hour class and roll. So they experienced what it is, and they kind of tuned themselves for the limit of the time, 60 minutes. So they went lower. Obviously, I learned to constrain some games, so they can't be that aggressive or whatever. So for us, it was, if I would say, rough period to change. I don't know, but it was quite messy, so to speak. And but I'm never shy of experimenting. People know, and so luckily it wasn't 3 months or 4 months. Then when it's a mess and chaos for that long, maybe people start to question, can you do your job? But for 2 months, kind of tampered off in 2 months period, so it was okay. So that was. But first, also, I know Souders has also answered me that, but I think why I had a harder time, and people who started back then had harder time, was, I think, the message was wrong, and I said it also publicly, and then Souders said maybe that people that spread the message didn't know what they were talking about, and so there was, I don't say who said it, but definitely the message that you can't say anything, you can't show anything. And that was the message when I started, and everything has to emerge, And that was like, that is very beautiful theory, but how the hell are you going to make it happen? Everything has to emerge. And if you say even something, that's not eco anymore. So make a choice. Do you want to do eco or not? And that was like, I was like, oh shit. Then I don't know. I felt so stupid, actually. And then you have to read some. I read mostly books later, but let's say I read articles or podcasts and stuff. So, and I guess we took a stance that we will say something, and we try to constrain it, how much and whatever. But yeah, the message was difficult because right now I know you can say whatever you want. You can actually be very prescriptive if the situation demands and people are ready. I've tested, I do seminars every weekend basically. I've tested when I say certain things, and sometimes it is too early and it goes like, and then I say something, a group think about this, and it just hits them, and everybody acts. So you can easily say something, you just have to understand there should be a context where it lands. So, and you can be, you can start with very specific thing, like an armbar. You can go from passing, you can funnel in, you can broad out, or broaden out, and you can say, you can show things, because sometimes, I have a seminars, we have a time restriction, time constraint. I like them to know that information before I go. So I do things differently. So, and I think this important part is the constraint you have makes you act certain way, So, and now I'm way more free, and even, obviously I'm using everywhere this, like Kit Dale has said this, that they had a podcast with Fred Saunders, and then he said something, I really had to think about it, like, I don't know, a couple of minutes, maybe even more. Like he said, you teach a technique when they don't have to drill it. And I was like, what? And I was like, that is very smart. And basically you funnel people to some kind of dead end. And then, you think about this now and go, and then you might show them a little bit here and there. You see what they understand. So there's a lot of good rules, but it's basically what it comes down to is context. So give them context first, and then you can teach all the details you nerd about, And why would you explain 10 minutes of knee slide details without the people? They have no context of understanding them. So if it's eco, if it's constraints, whatever it is, it just makes sense. And I know why people want to teach it, why I did it this way. I guess in some way you love the sound of your voice and you understand all the details, you want to share them, but, a lot of them are not ready to receive them. So and many, many times I also felt that I was wasting my time, I said something important and then they got it all wrong, and then I have to explain it one more time, it wasn't very efficient. So yeah, for me, as soon as I saw, I don't know even why, the change wasn't that hard to go after eco, but the change itself, I think it was, rough, messy, but I'm very happy I did it, and I'm very happy I'm not there anymore. So this right now is way better. So, but we still try to, get better, and certain things I know I can teach, and certain things I have hard time still teaching. And that's why there's a progress, and mostly it's about stand-up. So.
Yeah, a lot of people have that misconception about the constraints-led approach where they feel like they can't say anything. From my understanding, from what I've read from Rob Gray, the coach's role is to guide the athlete's intention and attention. So intention would be the goals, the task focus, and then their attention, so looking for certain affordances, so opportunities for action. So essentially, the coach, you're supposed to guide or inspire your students. And if your student, like, let's use the analogy, maybe they're going for a drive and they just keep going the long way to the petrol station. If you're in the car and you know a shortcut, you might just give them a bit of a nudge and say, have you thought about maybe turning left instead of turning right? Or, maybe, cut through this side street. So I had a similar problem to you, Priit. I was, kind of not saying too much, but now, after doing a bit more reading of Rob Gray, and then I listened to that podcast with Kit Dale and Greg Souders. So yeah, the coach, you can definitely inspire your athletes, especially a lot of them can get tunnel vision and just don't see like certain opportunities.
Because somebody said, I don't know who it was, first of all, in the last book of Rob Gray, How to Be Ecological Coach, there's a page there that describes how you can do a physical presentation and how to show it and what to do verbally. And finally, there was like, because, like you can't say you can't do this, you can't do that, but there's rules. And somebody said even that Rob Gray himself was very against this kind of, saying a lot or doing this. In his first and second book, I think he said, yeah, but they don't get it. Just tell them to bend their knees, if that helps, if you can't get any other way. But somebody, I don't know who it was that he was more reluctant, and by the years, maybe he studies and he develops this, and he's I guess the scientist that's in a, front, kind of like develops it also, and then a leading scientist in that field. So, and maybe he's mellowed a little bit, that and there's a really, if somebody can pick up that book, there's a really good, pretty awesome, like rules, so to speak, or guidelines, how to show things. Like it was really cool that, when you do a half guard, yeah. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing cross face, So he said, like, don't say what you're doing, say the effect of what you're doing, So I'm trying to rotate his head, look away from me, That's the crossface. So if you even guide their intent, like, what do you do? What's the function? Not like how you do it, Maybe they're doing different ways of the same crossface, So that was really cool, like those guidelines, verbally what to say, and then physically how to show it, or something. So yeah, I really recommend to pick it up. So that was, for me, it was like, okay, now I have rules. And otherwise I've heard, people say this and you can say that. Okay, what is the man saying, the Rob Gray, what he says, and let's
Big
go
dog.
from there. So yeah, that was really helpful. The last book helped a lot. We'll see what he's now co-authoring some other book, like something perception. I just saw something. I don't know what the fourth one will be. Also a little bit about coaching, but I think it's a different series, not his own series, but some other new book comes out. We'll see what this will be about.
I like how you mentioned, teaching the function. I think from one of your, must have been from podcasts that you did probably a year ago, you mentioned, you're more of a coach that teaches the function of things. And I wrote a little note because I keep notes, I listen to a podcast, write down some notes. So you got the function-based coach. He's going to teach, like, how the tools are working. How does a crossface actually work? You're trying to turn the head, this and that. Or you could be like a Wikipedia type coach. You got, 5 different ways you can do a crossface. You got this option, that option. So I like, I've done that myself, the last couple of years, is trying to just be more just, here are the tools and, this is how you can use them.
Yeah, like, make his face turn that way, It's kind of easy. Make his face turn that way, see what happens, see what they come up with. Obviously, I've done Jiu-Jitsu 25 years. I have some options, experience, how I can do it. I can guide you. But showing my way, I also always like what Sauter said in some podcast or whatever, usually when he speaks, is like, we have to leave room also for unknown. Yeah. So this is very, very powerful that, we still come up, even we still in Jiu-Jitsu come up with new moves, So there has to be room for unknown, that I cannot pretend that those 3 options of turning your face is all there is, Maybe some white belt comes up to the super noble way. I'm like, oh, so I love that. That's open-ended, You have to kind of guide them and do this and that and see what happens and let them solve. And if it's safe environment, it's totally fine. So a lot of like cool principles, and it is way of hands-off kind of, but it's also very hands-on, because you kind of have to. I do my seminars, a lot of times I sit in one spot just to constrain myself, to speak more and to create behavior with my words. It's easy to sometimes show, So I've done 2 seminars on my jeans. I just sat in a corner on my jeans, in my jeans, or, have my jeans on, and I didn't show anything. And I was like, I said, I want to constrain myself, and I want to see, can my words create the behavior I want? Yeah. And it was kind of cool. And so yeah. So for me right now, whatever we go with the story here, is that very powerful is how you say things. And so each class, I say thing, and sometimes I realize, oh, it's loaded. So there's some context behind that I cannot, vocalize. So it's very, very interesting that how words create behavior. So I'm very, very fascinated by this effect.
It'd be interesting to see because at the moment I've got a couple of deaf athletes. So obviously you can't say anything to them. So it's all, you have to demonstrate. So I'd love to see you run a seminar full of deaf athletes.
But then it's all different. I have to show,
Yep, the opposite.
But yeah. But what comes to, you mentioned my postures and stuff, and people hate me and don't hate me. I've actually changed the way I coach because I knew that I was coaching, and I was kind of doing those structures, but also in a way in a vacuum. I put the postures in place, and then we just challenge the posture instead of putting those postures in a real situations, because I know why I use them, because I've constrained myself for years to find something out. But now, because of the way I've changed the coaching, I rarely go to nitty-gritty of structures, because I actually can make those structures kind of appear in the game, so to speak. And then if somebody wants, if the attacks gets really precise, the structures will get precise. And there's need for those details. And because very often people ask me, like, when do I use the hawking? When do I use this? When do I use that? And I'm like, I know how to use it, but I don't know how to say it to you, And then people have to kind of trial and error, and then they finally figure it out. But I always thought that maybe there's a better way. But now I think I have a way better context, and that to add those details, and it actually makes sense. So I'm very, very happy that I stumbled and I was willing to change towards this way of coaching, So, but yeah, with postures and function, so to speak. And even you talked about function, it's with all the running mans, let's say, and Hawkings, what we're looking for in some, it's not the whole truth, but part of it, it's like we're looking for a shoulder to the chest. So we want to keep, our opponent in a horizon, so they can't get chest to chest, chest to back. So we're keeping the shoulder, and it's ever changing. So basically, that hawking would be that, or something. So a lot of cool shit actually has happened after I changed to that, and I've changed the way I coach. Actually, I got a message, like, I don't know, maybe a week ago. Somebody was, "Oh, Priit, have you changed?" It's kind of like a sad news, because I really enjoyed your structures, and do you ever teach them again? Because they think it's all games and stuff. It cannot be nuance. But I told him, don't worry, I still do my defensive stuff. But now with a better context, actually more live work. Now we don't have questions. When do I, how do I use it? It's like, and then nitty gritty comes later if somebody goes really deep. And then there's a necessity there. They can dive into that. But in many cases, what I know is not even necessary, because a lot of people, no, that's a bad thing, are willing to go that deep, whatever that means, and if they want, they can tap into that. But I don't bother them with certain details anymore, actually. So it's also refreshing for me.
Can you give me an example how you would run a game talking about that shoulder to chest? Like your kind of new language now, versus kind of some of the older stuff you're doing?
So, top person, yeah? You're in side control. So you want chest to chest, chest to back. That's it, yeah? Yeah, and even whichever, is it a distance, is it close, who cares? Just the direction or closeness, you want chest to chest, chest to back. And bottom person, you're in side control forever. You're not bringing your legs in, blah, blah, blah. And I would even do tests like this first. I don't tell them the shoulder to the chest. I let them suffer. And because
build that context.
I think it's necessary, because they all go to their old ways of framing. They still keep a distance. If I tell them chest to chest, they still do. But I say even distance chest to chest is bad. And then as soon as they error, some trial and error, like 5-6 times, they start to turn away. And most likely they turn away. Some people turn in also. But basically, you have to be sideways, and your shoulder is pointing towards their chest. So you cannot, it's very, very hard to pin. So you're not feeling their weight. So, and first I do a game when the top opponent, however you get it, chest to chest, chest to back. So bottom is kind of, for a warm up, I do it kind of constrained to being on one side. And then top person is, facing them, shoulder to the chest, or goes behind. They move the angle. So it's, again, the back shoulder. So you're going to switch on one side like this. And then when I add the rule that top person, you have to get chest to chest, but also lock your arms around, diagonal or around double unders. So then that means I can also turn, because I can show them my chest, but I have to keep their arms open. And we actually have cool things because basically you start with this, that first you don't get them, the pinning positions. And now you can play with fire by turning your chest towards them, but keeping their arms open, by having the biceps or wrist, holding the wrist, because the frames are coming in. Yeah. But right now we're not pulling guard. So there's a range of playing with fire, shoulder, or give them chest to chest, but find any ways you can keep the arms open, And I usually say that if they can't close their arms, I promise you it's easier to escape. As soon as they lock, then it's trouble, So, so I'm kind of like showing them different ranges, you can play chest to chest, but keep their arms open, And if you are getting like they're about to close, it's better to turn the shoulder, because it's hard to get a hold on you and not getting pinned. So, and then we go from there. Obviously, top attacks, kimuras, sideways, front headlocks, we call them, like a Darce setups. And because they start to come in more. And yeah, we just make people very, very hard to get pinned. And then now also I tell them usually that if you get pinned, you exactly know what went wrong. You went sideways, you let them lock. And then you deserve the suffering, Yeah, of course, you have to use some frames and stuff, but then I think you're willing to suffer more if you know what went wrong. And it was 2 major mistakes already. 2 lines got passed. And then you can't complain Jiu-Jitsu is difficult, It's like you did it to yourself, by purpose or not. And then you're there, and next time, if you get out, you can try better. But I don't want them to give them chest-to-chest locked arms, and now I know how to escape, So, and then when we build up, and then we usually add the guard pull in some point and blah, 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 And then top person, and you never know if this seminar is for a bottom or top, because both are getting better. Because top person, you're now learning to create chest to chest and chest to back, because in passing, that's what you have to do. You have to create that, get those bottom elbows, flatten those shoulders. That's your job, So nothing is given to you. So you're learning real skill, and they're resisting. So it could be some kind of, passing end situation easily, like Torando, loose legs, you drop, and then you meet that shoulder to the chest, try to finish, So, and I really enjoy teaching this way, and we can do it, this shoulder game, for 2 hours. I usually do 2 by 2 hours in one day, and then 2 hours, everybody has so much fun, and they're losing and winning. We don't call it like this. I usually say there's no losing and winning when you're learning. It's getting more data. Yeah, we get to get more data, what to do, what not to do, what to do more, So that is, you're meant to explore. So losing is right away definition, like going here, think about this, going there. So I try to get the losing and winning right away out of their mind. So if you compete, yeah, you might lose and win, But if you're learning and training, we cannot always worry about losing and winning, exploring, getting more data. And losing, this way they connect. Next time so you can prevent that, So, and this is a lot of times that when I roll with people, they want to escape side controls very fast. Like, I want to get out. I want to get out, And I'm like, I'm just holding you. You don't even let me work, So wait for me. Maybe I move, then you get out, So people, I find very, 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 very often that people do not like side control bottom. They want to escape quickly. And that's why they put them also in more danger, because they take some chances they shouldn't take. So that's why also kind of like I love what I do, because I make them in side control so comfortable that if you train this long enough, you can stay there forever. or escape the fastest you want because you have the most experience. You can find options to pick up right away. Depends on your environmental constraints. Leading 2 points, 10 seconds left, maybe don't escape. Survive 10 seconds. You want to escape fast to different constraints, you will find that also. Yeah. So, and not always but always everybody says, oh, you have to escape the fastest. No, you don't. It give me a different constraints. You can just survive, in a turtle. In IBJF, I think until you get disqualified, you can stall, I think, minute or minute 30. If you're leading by points, I think, first is warning, then it's warning, then it's some 2 points or whatever, and finally is, you can I think easily minute you can stall. Imagine being ahead 4-0, and then it's a world championship final, 1 minute left. You can stall out, but you have to have that experience that you can stall out that amount of time, So that's why I advocate survival. It gives you a bigger toolkit, fast escape, long escape, you choose, depending on your constraints that you're in, So I don't advocate like escape fast, whatever, It all depends. So it's been very fun teaching this way right now.
So have you been mainly focusing on the pinning and escapes, or have you also been doing some like passing kind of games as well?
Yes, in a class I've done. When I do my own classes, I teach main groups. Then I do games. If I do mostly seminars, then I advertise them like defensive BJJ. I'm doing the back stuff, mount, side control, more even like some submissions, but mostly positional stuff. But in classes, obviously, we have to cover everything. So what comes to information, obviously, defense, I have quite a lot. I don't know everything, but that's what I specialize. I'm upper body, upper body submission and positional. Like that's my interest. Yeah. So I don't want to call myself specialist, but I guess people call me. But yeah, that's my study, research. I'm interested in that. But obviously knowing a little bit about Jiu-Jitsu, doing it for 25 years, there's some context. I've seen a lot of different passing, and with games and stuff that I've seen other people do, and I maybe develop my own. Then we also have to teach passing. You have to teach guard. But also in those instances, I also find out certain limitations because in defense, I can really understand what is the problem. Way deeper level that comes to guard, because obviously I don't play it that much. But luckily, we have Tom is a leg lock specialist, but does it all, and Ronald, other black belt, also is a generalist. So if I ever need, I get information, and then I have to just find a way to, so to speak, gamify it. That what is important and what it consists of, and then okay, how do we play that game from the broad to in maybe something specific. So if I ever want to help from the details, and then in my own classes I have to teach, and that's I think, I don't want to say I struggle, but that's been also like I feel I'm getting better at this every time, because obviously it is not my comfort zone, and I guess comfortably. So I started not last year August, but year before. So I would say in a way comfortably, I've been teaching maybe in last 6 months. It's getting now more comfortable, because it was in July last year when I was able to teach 3 topics in one class. So that the whole game idea drove me nuts. When we started and they said, yeah, Sauros was saying about this, you have to teach the whole game, every class. That's the whole point, And I was like, how the hell are you going to fit the guard, stand up and passing, or pinning in the same hour, But so last year in March, I could do 2. I was like, oh shit. And then I felt that moment. I even remember the class. It was a body lock passing class. And It was 6 o'clock, 6:25. I said to people, we could stop here right now. This is a wonderful place to stop. And then I still did a little bit extra because I was not willing to change at that time. But I felt like, oh shit, I can actually do it. And in July, I changed to class format. We do half an hour main topic, 20 minutes, 20 minutes of stand-up wrestling, and 10, 15 minutes in end is complementary to the main. So if it's a pinning, we do guard. If the main is guard, we do some pinning, like dominant escapes, whatever, upper body stuff, so to speak. So, and this has been wonderful because at first I thought it was impossible to do. I was like, who the hell can teach like this? But now I saw also my friend Kabir Bath in Canada is in Vancouver, Kaboom Jiu-Jitsu, and I saw his class schedule. And I was like, oh my God. And the way he does it, like a 10, 10, 10, some other stuff, is very chaos, very brief, very in, out, It seems that way. I haven't seen it. I've seen the schedule, so to speak. So I know there's still room to get better. But yeah, that's why I'm here. And I feel the progress. And yeah, last 6 months, I would say, I feel that I don't want to say like I know it or something, I can do it. I can sort of figure it out. It comes easier, So I would even say I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy the struggle. Before it was a little bit more difficult, but now definitely. And also more information is out. And also I have my mentors, So Francesco Fonte, that's sadly I have to admit that he's awesome. And some other maybe people I follow, but mainly I always bug Francesco right now. He's the most accessible to me with his time, and we meet each other in different camps and stuff. So I bug him a lot, and he's ahead of me. And the way this man can set the frames for the game to say certain things, like give you example. Maybe it sounds for somebody like, oh, obvious, yeah. But let's say the side control, that it's true. Side control, that is true since, when you join as a white belt and then to the black belt. What is the framework? What stays true in all that time? So it's a, very difficult question. But then he said like this, I hate him for that. He said, top person, your job is chest to chest. Okay? Stay top chest to chest. Bottom person, get your knees and legs between you and them. That's it. That's the framework that stays true forever. And if you start to really digest it, obviously, if they want legs in, I want to block the legs, I want to cover the hips. That's obvious, But first, you don't mention that because it's obvious. You can mention chest to chest. Why it's genius. If I keep chest to chest, top chest to chest ever, there's no turtle, because turtle is you have to disconnect that chest to chest. And if I want to keep top chest to chest forever, there's no bridge and rolls. Understand? Because top chest to chest means you're top forever. And in that simple goddamn turn is side control established forever. And then you can go nitty gritty, like Francesco goes, keep their elbows off the mat, do this, cover the hips, and then you add context. But he said that, and maybe Souders or somebody has said it before, but I never heard anybody say it like this. And I was like, oh my God. And this is the way you say it to the beginners. The simplest complexity. Keep chest to chest forever, the way you want. I don't really care. And bottom person, get your knees and legs involved. That's guard, Or disconnect chest to chest. That means you can go to turtle, So, and you start there. So it's like, and that is what I really, truly appreciate what Iko has done. He has made clear what is Jiu-Jitsu, What is the behavior? What are we looking for? Not like side control is this cross-face underhook. No, it's not. It's what keeps the side control, why they can't move. So that behavior, and that was, I think that was missing. I know some people get a little bit butthurt, but I think in that way, whatever the context is, I'm saying, I think that was mostly missing. Because I was brought up in a SPG system, and we had fundamental 5, but I feel it's a bit different. So our fundamental was a little bit similar, but I don't know why I feel it's different. So it
What do
was
you mean by fundamental 5?
Matt Thornton had different kind of fundamental 5s for different positions. So top was what I remember. Also, I guess it was, I don't know if it called chest to chest. I think it was connect upper body, block the hips. Yeah. Then kill the near side arm. That means, get the elbow out of the way, get closer, control the far arm and move as necessary. I think it was this connect upper body, block the hip, kill the inside arm, control the outside arm, and move when necessary. But, when you say connect to upper body, so, and again, we talked about before, like function. Function is I want to keep chest to chest. I don't want to, I want to actually keep that alignment, because that is key to everything. And then I don't have to kill the inside arm. I can, it's not a necessity. It comes later. I think, and then blocking the hips, and I know, what happened.
I can hear you all right.
Yeah. And some update came. And let's say, I called block the hips, but Francesco was like, and I know correct others also, they talk about covering the hips. Block the hips. Maybe block the hips, but keep the legs away, So it actually matters the way you say things. Keep the legs away, that they're obviously, you can say cover the hips, or function maybe, I don't know, keep the legs away. The legs cannot enter. So you actually try to do this, and then you cover the hip and block the hip for that, So it's the way we speak and stuff. It's so interesting. And that's why I feel that the fundamental, what Francesco said, it's even more fundamental, So can we take something away? So I think fundamental 5s, whatever they were, I don't remember the other stuff. There was some passing and there was some, but I think they helped because they also, like, SPG was trying to be more like a concept, at least back in the day, concept way of, the way we started when we joined them. I think it was 2005, 7, something. I left, I think 2018. But those were like, like ideas that kind of helped and made sense, in all the technique space, that somebody trying to actually, okay, what are the rules we're doing, But I think Francesco, like, I don't know, blew this out of the park. It was way more simple, just this. And then you start to expand and add everything else. So I really, and Francesco seems to, I don't know why he can think that way, but he's very good at thinking this way of sending, like, what is the first thing we should start with? And then we go in, because I think that the beginning framework is very, very important, because we have to include everything possible. If you start the framework too soon, we exclude some options, So I think that's been, and I want to actually get better at this. So that's why I bug him a lot. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it, Priit. I want to be a bit mindful of your time, because I know it's a bit getting late over there. And you're in Estonia at the moment.
It's 22:57. My wife and kid is already in sleep, so it's all good.
Bang, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any other topics you'd like to talk about? Seems like we've covered quite a bit, your learnings, your experience.
I don't know.
Do you do much with kids, like running kids classes?
No, we just started. We just started youth, 10 to 15. First class was a disaster.
Okay. Why's that? Love to hear it.
They're coming from, I guess, 7 different families, 7 different environments, flip-flops. Some of them coming right from the outside with their shoes and with their clothing. They don't have even training clothes, So we have to deal with that also. And now it's already good. So now we have to explain the rules because, clearly maybe talk to parents. And so that is the side usually you don't have with adults, So it's kind of like you have to have a connection, and you have to kind of, let's say, a bit raise them, And obviously it's discipline, do this, do that. So now it seems to be better, but yeah, let's say their focus of attention is, they don't know even if they like it so far. So usually adults are like mostly they're motivated to be there. So it's different. But the other topic, just jokingly topic, I was in Australia and we didn't meet.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate. It's
What
my
city?
wife actually manages my social media, so I'm not really on socials. So
Okay. So it's funny that you have a podcast, but you're not in social media. See, so to what city? I was in Melbourne, Sydney,
yeah, I live in
Albury.
Melbourne.
Okay, you were in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I was in Lachlan Giles Gym.
Yeah, if next time, yeah, I didn't know you're on. I don't use Instagram. So my wife does all the social media. So
Okay.
I only just got the password for the new School Sensei Instagram. So yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. So that was I was landing, Friday to Melbourne, and then I was weekend 2 days in Lachlan at the SK Skilda, I think. Yeah.
Yep, St Kilda.
Yeah. I was there 2 days, and then I left to Albury. Yeah.
Did you get to do any
So
sightseeing around St Kilda and Melbourne?
not really because it was raining. Well, I brought the rain. So but basically the whole Australian tour is like rain was following me. Even the Gold Coast weather went a little bit worse than the people. It was like, this should actually be better, but Priit is here. And when I went to Sydney, basically rain.
Wow.
All the high rises were cut by the fog coming from above. It was a cloud, I don't know. So they were like, we had 30 degrees Priit before you came. So I had fun, but yeah, we had Melbourne, Albury, Sydney, Gold Coast, and maybe that was it. Yeah. Oh,
Did you
also
drink
Blue
any coffee in
Mountain.
Melbourne?
Say again?
Did you drink any coffee in Melbourne? Go to any
Yeah,
cafes?
I had a picture also. I was like sitting in some cafeteria. I don't know what place it was. It was close to the gym, and I had one of the best morning coffees there. And
Boy.
my wife was very jealous because I made up, waking up in Melbourne having coffee in the morning. So my wife was like, yeah. So I had a really good time. So, and I thought the November kind of, beginning of December would be nice time because, you know, our schedule is more like summer. We people have vacations, and in that time people don't. But they said you guys' year is different, so you don't have summer vacation, and more close to December, people start to take more vacations. So next time, if I think they're gonna be next time because everybody. I was also in Blue Mountain,
Oh, yeah.
and everybody was very happy, and everybody invited us back. And I know some clubs couldn't get in. It was too whatever early, whatever they had some plans. So next time, I don't think it will be next year, but maybe year after that. So 26. I think the suggestion was to do it in September or something, more like August, September, kind of weird time for me. But for them it was like a mid-season kind of cool, you know. So yeah, but the idea would definitely we want to do it again because first is exposure, and people saw what I do. Feedback has been positive. I taught with constrained approach, and everybody has fun. And it's usually what I'm trying to also change the topic. We can talk or not talk about it. Is seminar scenery is also weird because people are used to this technique based, and then if you do like a 3 hours, you can do easily 15 techniques, and your brain explodes after a fifth one. So and so I usually propose 2 by 2 2 by 2 hours, and both full weekend, and people go like, oh my god, that it's like insane. But I just did it in Berlin, 8 hours. People were, I guess, tired, but brain is fresh because it's different, the details and everything. And I think a lot of people do not know what seminar can be. I think there's market for technique seminars, why not? But also it's very dominated by just people coming in showing random shit. But if it's a theme, okay, we're talking about, 3 hours of rainbow law, blah, blah, every detail, I think it makes sense, why not? But very often it's just, okay, sweep here, takedown there, armbar there, just some favorite random techniques, and they might working, but it's still random. And I do a theme, just shoulder to the chest, 2 hours, well, actually training skill. And obviously we're always live, constraints, their own autonomy, figuring stuff out. So it's really different way. And I think a lot of people, when I did it in Australia, also were surprised that this can be also seminar format, because people usually expect something else. So, well, I don't think I'm trying to change that. I think, fight the scenery again. But the more I do seminars, the more people have options what it can be. And I think also that's somewhere I have also a harder time selling seminars because, we can't do it. It's too long. People don't like it. I'm saying, let me do it, whatever, let's make a deal and let's see afterwards. And the people are, we didn't know it was different, So that's also what is my experience doing with seminars is, and it's in some way, I would say it's ruined. And I know, like, there was a guy in Berlin, actually a pretty good brown belt, and he was invited to the seminar for free by the host. Just come and see, come and see, come and see. It's different. Come and see. And he was like, and then the first day he was late for an hour. And so second day I was like, are you coming? I don't know, I have to maybe do some stuff. And he was there on time, even early. And we did a class. Second day also, he said it's one of the best seminars, he's ever been. Because he said the story, he doesn't like seminars. He's a brown belt. He doesn't need some new sweeps from somebody. He knows what he's doing. He likes, he has his own ideas, what he's after, But the way we did it, I was like, that was very cool. I didn't expect this, blah, 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 So, because I know always, like, seminars is for beginners sometimes, and already purples and up, they don't come to seminars because they know shit already. So that's also a sad thing about seminars. And I don't know if I want to change that, but I want to show the alternative, that white belts and black belts can train together. I've done it before and it's fun. And this should also be a message that I think people that do seminars should also think about it. Yeah, because I think we can all, benefit from that, more interest for seminars because it's more fun, functional, skill building. People are invited back, not just for random shit, people again understand what I mean about that when I talk about it. It's just short words and somebody again can get offended again, like obvious. Yeah, so
It
that's
sounds like
also
you're running
one topic. Sorry.
It sounds like instead of like a traditional seminar, you're running more like a kind of a training workshop.
Yeah,
like a skill workshop.
We
So it's just
literally
a
in Berlin.
totally different thing.
Yeah, we did back escapes, and the same topic, shoulder to the chest goes also the back escapes, and we did side control 2 hours, so chest to the shoulder to the chest, and the back was the same. We're looking for a precursor of the chest to the shoulder to the chest, and then it's already easier to turn around to do everything. Just the game we'll play just to get the precursor, And then what happened? And let's talk about it. This happened, that happened. They stopped, they stopped them doing this. So how to solve it, So we're looking to a precursor. So it's 2 hours, and people, it's very nitty gritty, shoulder to the chest, but they had fun, and just 2 hours like this flew by. Everybody was like, "Fuck," we did 2 hours of this, So I think, it's a different way of doing things and really building skill. And then because I don't tell you the details, you discover them. They don't tax your brain so much. I think physically still, I have to pace it, I have to explain things, so we can't just go like, super hard, 8 hours, but it's still always live work. But everybody's mind and stuff are fresh. Just, they did physical work, so it's tiring. And there weren't like only young people there, The host was 53-year-old brown belt. So, and he survived and he was happy and everything. So, yeah, so that's also, I guess, what my message is for those seminars and the way I do it. I think the seminar scenery, I don't know, can be better, so to speak. And it's sad that a lot of people don't like seminars just because it's been like a technique buffer, and you know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, I guess if you want details, just go BJ Fanatics. Like I'd rather watch it on my own time.
yeah, or I have a private with somebody, awesome, go like super deep, talk to them. I think there's need for it, definitely. I'm not saying it's bad, but not everybody's ready for that. So, and that's also, I don't know, my message or whatever, but I'm trying to offer the alternative and change a bit scenery, one gym at a time. So maybe they can also ask similar things from other coaches that are usually doing, techniques stuff, random stuff. Maybe they can ask, oh, we had this. Can you do also like this? Because obviously people have good information. And can they gamify it? Can they do this and that? So I think clients, they have more opportunities now.
Do you ever get any pushback during the seminars when you go more this kind of workshop kind of type?
Pushback meaning what?
Like say people like, I didn't come for this, like they just walk out. Or they just kind of just keep
Well,
asking you like
yeah,
want all the details and
if they have walked out, they never talk to me. So I let's say face to face walking out, this is bullshit. Never. What else? Um, Details. I would say somebody maybe I don't lecture, but I talk in seminars because I want to pace it. So I explain different situations and why they're impossible to teach with techniques. you know, and I'm trying to justify whatever happened. They do some sequence randomly happen with resistance, and I was like, how do we do it now with techniques? Because when we do it second time, it's different again. So they understand also. And yeah, so I have gotten them quite fast out of that mindset that they need a right answer, because that's what I understand why they want that. Give me the right answer to beat somebody. And then I'm giving the answer, it all depends, yeah? So nobody likes that answer. But I think if we do those games and the games are how do call it, reachable level-wise, so they can win and get good success, let's say, and then they maybe are not interested of those details because they solved it on their own. And very, very often, I don't, sometimes I show also how I do it, so they would believe it. Sometimes they can do it themselves. It depends. But as soon as they do it, I will say, sometimes if I don't show it, then they can still do it. I say, why do you need me? You just did it yourself. And this is proof. I'm trying to empower people also. This is proof that you can figure it out. You have a task, shoulder to the chest, and then it's trial and error, 10 whatever times, 15 times, finally you can do it. And this is all jiu-jitsu. And if you keep solving problems like this one at a time, you will get there where you want to go. But we have to empower people that this is how learning is. And this is what you have to go through, and you have to love it, that you have to know there is an answer, and it's just trial and error. You cannot hate it. This is the way learning happens. You're tuning yourself to the signal, what you want to do. And I think if the games or stuff are like really level wise good, I think that I move them away because they get success and they understand that they can actually solve it. And I'm trying to always guide. And what happens a lot with my seminars is I'm not the star of the show anymore, and I really enjoy it. Because usually when you have all the details, you're explaining everything and look cool. But now what I'm doing mostly, I'm finding people doing cool shit. Oh, stop, guys. Let's see. He solved it like this. And then they show what they did. And some other stuff. Oh, shit, now he came up with this. Let's see. Now everybody can learn. And then I'm usually just showing what cool shit they do by solving those problems. And maybe, nudging them a bit here and there. But they come up with so much cool shit. And I always say, you don't need a coach. You just have to have the good mind. There's a problem. You try to, get the invariance, try to understand what's happening, and then just go, 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 and isolate, like a deliberate practice. And I'm not saying coach is not necessary. I'm saying coach is actually very necessary. But I think people need to feel that they're getting success. Because when you learn technique, all the super gritty neat details, and then you roll, you can't do half of them, then you feel bad. And then you want to have a right answer. So I know why they want it, but yeah, I've gotten better telling them why they don't need it and why it is impossible for me to tell them the right answer. And it is somewhat paradigm shift in their head, you know. And but so far it's been good. So I don't say everybody has loved it. Obviously, you know, people don't say certain things to your face, you know. But most what I've heard and what I've talked, people we go to restaurants later, you know, and stuff we eat and everything. So that's been always positive, and people invite me back and stuff. So overall, I think you know I've done a fine job, and I think there's room for improvement. But you know that's why we're here.
Bang. I'll be at that next workshop. If you could post the dates like in advance, and I'll make sure I'm there. I'll have to shout your coffee afterwards too.
Yeah. So, but I would say 2025 is already. I think August September is done, and if that was be the case, then I think 26. I will talk to my friend Cameron Quinn. He's in Gold Coast, and then you know I don't know maybe in the middle of the this year, and then you know get the word out, and then we have a year to make it happen. So probably yeah. So if you haven't seen anything by August September this year, you could reach out. You know, ask
Yep.
Preet, are you doing this or not? So, but that seems to be the plan, and that's what we agreed with him that we will do it again. But we'll see what where the world is with the shit is what that's going on. So, and then we go from there. You know.
Yep, 100%. Thanks so much, Preet. Awesome chat. So it's good to see you always pushing, you always, looking for different options. So very keen to see what you come up with next. Guys, you enjoy that. Let us know. Like, subscribe. If you got any feedback, send me some comments on the Instagram. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Preet.